Coming up on this Monday edition of Daybreak, the United States calls on North Korea to admit it was responsible for the hacking attack on Sony Pictures and for it to compensate the studio for its losses. Korea's state-run nuclear power corporation says it will conduct large-scale cyber-security drills at 4 nuclear power plants over the next 2 days as a hacker continues to post information about the reactors onto the internet. Plus, US President Barack Obama condemns the murder of 2 New York City police officers amid tension over police tactics in the city. Daybreak begins now. Hello and thanks for joining us. To our viewers around the world, it's 6 a.m. on Monday, December 22nd here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broome and you're tuned in to Daybreak. Our top story this morning, the United States says North Korea should take responsibility for the recent cyber attack on Sony Pictures, which resulted in the cancellation of the studio's Christmas Day release of a controversial film, The Interview. President Obama on Sunday called the attack an act of cyber vandalism, not of war, but said North Korea may be put back on a list of state sponsors of terrorism. Connie Kim starts us off.
The United States says that North Korea is responsible for a recent cyber attack on Sony Pictures, backing the FBI's assessment of the case. U.S. National Security spokesman Mark Broome said that Washington is confident Pyongyang is responsible for what he said was a destructive attack. Broome added that if the North wants to help, the regime should admit their culpability and compensate Sony for the damages the attack has caused. North Korea has denied involvement in the cyber attack on Sony Pictures, which led the studio to cancel the release of The Interview, a comedy about an assassination plot on North Korean leader Kim Jungun. The North, which had previously proposed a joint investigation with the U.S., released its response Saturday through its state news agency.
If the U.S. refuses to accept our proposal for a joint investigation and continues to talk about some kind of response by dragging us into the case, it must remember there will be grave consequences.
President Barack Obama had vowed a U.S. response to the cyber attack during his year-end press conference on Friday, saying the regime could find itself even more isolated in the international community. A senior White House official told the Wall Street Journal the following day that relisting Pyongyang as a state sponsor of terrorism is one of the options Washington is reviewing. The Bush administration removed the North from the list in 2008 to bring about progress in denuclearization talks. And the U.S. is now asking for other countries for help in combating cyber attacks from North Korea. Washington is reported to have asked China to block Pyongyang's access to internet routers and servers within its borders, part of a move to put an end to the cyber attacks against companies in the United States. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Now, the United States is reportedly working with other countries, including Russia, to get things moving on the North Korean nuclear issue. An official from the State Department said Washington is pressuring its allies and Russia to mediate possible security threats posed by North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Some experts say the State Department's comments reflect the U.S.'s hope that an upcoming possible summit between Russia and North Korea will focus on Pyongyang's nuclear and missile programs. Russia confirmed last week that President Vladimir Putin wants the North Korean leader to visit Moscow in May to mark the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff has warned that Seoul will respond firmly to any provocations from North Korea. The strong words Sunday follow a threat by Pyongyang to attack the South if it lights up a Christmas tree-shaped tower, which you can see there, which is situated near the inter-Korean border. The Joint Chiefs of Staff also called on the North to stop speaking ill of the South Korean leader, President Park Geun-hye, following Pyongyang's comments that it views the lighting as a move by her to start a fight between the two Koreas. Last Thursday, a local Christian group cancelled plans to set up a tree tower near the border after Pyongyang threatened to hold the group responsible for the consequences of such an action. Now, China is paying an awful lot of attention to whether North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is going to take up Russia's offer we just mentioned to visit Moscow next May to mark the 70th anniversary of the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. There's rising speculation Kim might use the visit to try and punish China for their strained ties. Our Son Jung-in has more.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has invited the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to Moscow next year to mark the 70th anniversary of his country's victory over Nazi Germany in the Second World War. Many experts say this could be an opportunity for Kim to establish a solid foothold as a leader. It would also help Pyongyang strengthen its ties with Russia, a permanent veto-wielding member of the UN Security Council, against international criticism on its human rights abuses and nuclear program. North Korea's current weakened relations with China is making Kim even more keen to find a friendly and powerful ally. China, which has taken issue with the North's nuclear arms testing and missile development, has stalled summit talks with Pyongyang for 3 years. Still, it's paying great attention to Kim's possible visit.
Russia has invited North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, among other leaders, to Moscow for the 70th anniversary of the Soviet defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II.
While some speculate Kim may make the visit to Russia as an attempt to prompt a summit between Pyongyang and Beijing, others remain skeptical as Kim has never made a foreign visit since taking power in 2011. There is also the possibility that a visit to Russia may worsen North Korea's relations with China at a time when the North is in desperate need of its help, as it's been forced into a corner over its recent cyber attack on Sony Pictures and its abysmal human rights situation. Meanwhile, as South Korean President Park Geun-hye has also been invited to Russia for its celebration, it remains to be seen how the anticipated gathering of the world leaders will pan out. 손정인, Arirang News.
Now, South Korea's presidential jet will be fitted with anti-missile gear by the year 2016 at the cost of some $27 million. A military official said on Sunday that the presidential jet will be equipped with a missile approach warning system and a device designed to confuse a missile's infrared guidance system so that it misses its intended target. Korea's Arms Procurement Agency will soon take steps to select a manufacturer for the missile defense systems and will purchase the equipment under a government-to-government deal with the US. The jet will be on lease to the presidential office until the year 2020 under a contract renewed with Korean Air last October. An international commission has asked Korea's Constitutional Court for a translation of its recent ruling to dissolve a minor opposition political party. The Venice Commission, which is a group of independent specialists that seeks to protect democracy and rule of law, has asked for the details as soon as possible. It was on Friday when Korea ordered the dissolution of the Unified Progressive Party, or the UPP, for its pro-North Korean principles. Korean officials say translating the ruling, which is more than 300 pages long, will take more than 6 months. The nation's Ministry of Justice is also investigating the legality of stripping the titles of more than 30 local-level UPP lawmakers.
We start before the sun rises to bring you the latest stories out of Korea. We also lead the way with important global coverage. Stay on the pulse of what is happening with Daybreak.
Now, in New York City, people gathered at a makeshift memorial on Sunday for the 2 police officers shot dead by a gunman who then killed himself. Police say the gunman, identified as 28-year-old Ismail Brinsley, may have been seeking revenge for the death of Eric Gartner, an unarmed black man who died after being put into a chokehold by a white cop. The deceased suspect had previously posted chilling anti-cop messages on his social media pages. US President Barack Obama has expressed outrage over the murder and has condemned the killings. Meanwhile, in the southern state of Florida, a veteran police officer was also shot and killed on Sunday. Police say 45-year-old officer Charles Condemns was gunned down in Tarpon Springs while responding to a call. There are no details yet about the suspect or the motive for that shooting. Back here in Korea, and in light of the recent hacking on nuclear reactors here in the nation, the state-run Nuclear Power Corporation says it will conduct large-scale cybersecurity drills at 4 power plants today and tomorrow. This comes as the hacker leaked more information about the facilities on Sunday and threatened more leaks if the government does not shut down some of its reactors by Christmas. The freshly leaked data includes floor maps, operation manuals and safety reports, and this is the 4th such posting by the hacker since last Monday. The Korea Hydroelectric Power Corporation says the leaked information is not related to core technologies and does not pose a threat to the reactor's safety. Now, the Korean government is seeking to bring about greater social cohesion, but to achieve its goal, it may have to change the atmosphere within Korean politics first. Our Ji Myung-gil tells us more.
A majority of Koreans think political bickering is what incites social conflict, according to a new survey released Sunday by the Presidential Committee for National Cohesion. 54% of respondents said lawmakers are more focused on informing constituents about their party's platform and ideology than they are on legislative affairs. They said political standoffs only hinder the passage of urgent livelihood bills and thousands of other draft bills awaiting review in the National Assembly. The other factors they cited as contributing to social conflict were the gap between rich and poor at 43%, individualism at 35%, and overly sensational news coverage by the media at 32%. A majority of respondents, or 78%, said class is the biggest source of social conflict, followed by ideological conflicts, labor and management conflicts, and regional conflicts. The survey notes that despite the many conflicts embedded in Korean society, hard work will be rewarded, indicating that there are opportunities for those who make an effort. The committee said the survey, conducted with 2,000 respondents, was carried out in order to assess the state of lingering social problems in Korean society, so that plans for improving social cohesion could be devised. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
Now, the gold price has been steadily decreasing over the last couple of years, but it turns out more and more Koreans are opting to invest their money into gold, as it's now seen as a safer bet in these uncertain times. And with these looming uncertainties brought on by a drop in global oil prices and, of course, the free-falling Russian ruble, Korean investors are turning to these traditional safer assets, including gold, savings and bonds. According to the Korea Gold Exchange, sales of gold bars are rising again, and more than 160 kilograms of gold has been sold so far this month alone. That surpasses the previous month's record of 137, and if the pace continues, we may break the monthly sales record ever set of 250 kilograms. Now, most people in Korea retire in their early 60s, and this, of course, leaves them ample time to enjoy their golden years. But many struggle with ways to fill the day. However, the IT sector has opened up a new opportunity for them, and companies are taking notice. Paul Lee has this report.
At the social venture firm, 68-year-old Kim Yoon-tae checks the video contents posted on websites and blogs one by one. Making use of his 35 years of experience as a teacher, he monitors and erases videos or photos that could have a negative impact on children and teens.
It's quite a fulfilling job. I feel rewarded to know that I am keeping the digital world safe for the young.
Over 300 older workers like Kim are in charge of filtering contents at the company. Portal site Naver, which entrusted them with the task, has been so satisfied with the results that they plan to increase the workforce to 500.
They are committed to their work and give their all. The work atmosphere is also great because they are all gratified by what they are doing, and their performance is outstanding.
With a pomegranate placed in the center of the table, this retiree is busy drawing a still life painting using his iPad. Jung Byung-gil, who retired after working for over 30 years at a bank, has become an iPad painter with the help of a community program that helps the elderly get back on their feet. Jung is now leading an active social life and even held his first ever iPad art exhibition.
This field is new for many of my age, but it is gaining attention. I am just happy to have found something to do in life.
The expansion of social networks and information and communications technology is helping retirees find new challenges so they can open a new and fulfilling chapter in their lives. Paul Yi, Arirang News.
Now, we're going to take a look at the largest fashion hub in Korea, Seoul's iconic Dongdaemun fashion town, which is visited by millions of tourists and local shoppers each and every year. Our Park Ji-won has this week's Industry Insight.
You can't talk about Korea's fashion industry without mentioning the Dongdaemun fashion market. Dongdaemun Fashion Town is the largest clothing market in Korea, and about 1/3 of all Korea's clothing distributors are based near the region. From textiles and clothing subsidiary materials to sewing factories and wholesale and retail shops. If it has to do with clothing and fashion, you will find it here. A designer's idea can be made into a final product in just a day. Let's take a look. This is Dongdaemun Fashion Town, the location of more than 30 fashion malls and tens of thousands of small clothing shops.
It's really amazing, all the districts, all the fashion, it's really nice.
I sometimes see items with unique designs that I cannot find at brand or department stores.
Retail shops are open from midnight or 2 a.m. and wholesale shops open from 8 p.m. to the next morning, meaning the market operates 24 hours a day. What's peculiar to the district is that it's like a complete fashion ecosystem where everything about fashion is clustered together. Thousands of fabric and clothing subsidiary shops and more than 20,000 small sewing factories are all nearby. Designers can turn their ideas into clothes in just a day by making a sample. And once the design is confirmed, mass production can start after another day or two. With Dongdaemun's fast yet sophisticated designs gaining global recognition, many orders now come from abroad.
Now we get many sample making orders from China as Chinese buyers visit Dongdaemun often.
The Dongdaemun district makes more money from exports than domestic sales, especially in the wholesale market.
Roughly 60% of the town's annual revenue comes from exports. International buyers are mostly from China, Taiwan, and Japan.
The fashion town also serves as a testbed for many up-and-coming designers.
Here's a hip fashion mecca where you can make and sell clothes. The region helps in my market research and market sourcing.
Some designers have successfully grown from single shops to fashion empires. This modern brand began from a shop in Dongdaemun, but has expanded to include dozens of shops in China.
Cotis Combined started as a shop in Dongdaemun in 2002. Now we have many products in many categories, particularly menswear, underwear, and a kids' clothing line.
Fashion group Hyungji, which has the #1 market share in women's clothes as a domestic company, also started as a humble shop in Dongdaemun Market in the early 1980s.
The founder of the group still emphasizes the so-called Dongdaemun spirit, which is characterized by designs that are ahead of their time in order to survive the fierce competition, thorough product management, and affordable prices.
The Dongdaemun fashion market has served as a breeding ground for clothing businesses and designers ever since the end of Korean War. Thanks to the market's unique features and its vibrant energy, Korea's leading fashion hub now attracts millions of people from both inside and outside of the country. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
And a good Monday morning to you all as we kick things off in baseball, where the highest bid for Nexen Hero slugger Kang Jungho was revealed to be $5,000,2015. And after the Nexen Heroes accepted the bid, now it's up to Kang Jungho to agree to a contract. Now, although it still hasn't been revealed which team won the rights to negotiating a deal with Kang Jungho, the Nexen Hero shortstop held a press conference on Sunday at the Mokdong Stadium to talk about his future. He stated that he plans to break the stereotype the Major League scouts have on the Korean fielders and added that the Major Leagues isn't his final step in his career. Now, the 27-year-old became the first shortstop in the KBO to hit 40 home runs this past season, as he now has 30 days to sign a contract. And now shifting over to the fourth stage of the 2014-2015 Ice Shoe Short Track World Cup, which finished off at the Mokdong Ice Rink in Seoul over the weekend. And even with 17-year-old Shim Seok-ki pulling out due to a flu, the Koreans still dominated the event. And of course, highlighting the Sunday's competitions were the Korean men who swept the 3,000-meter event as Lee Jung-soo, Kwak Yong-gi, and Shin Da-eun finished first, second, and third, respectively. But with Shim Seok-ki out of the event, it was the 16-year-old Choi Min-jung who didn't disappoint on the final day, adding a 1,500-meter gold for her second gold medal in the fourth stage of the Short Track World Cup in Seoul. And staying with winter sports, one of the athletes who garnered a lot of attention prior to the Sochi Winter Games was Yoon Sung-bin, who started making a name for himself in the skeleton competitions. But over the weekend, he topped it all off with Korea's first bronze medal in a World Cup event. Now, with the second stage of the Skeleton World Cup taking place in Calgary, Canada, the 20-year-old completes the first and second attempts for a combined time of 1 minute 52.23 seconds, good for third overall. And not only is it Korea's first medal in the Skeleton World Cup event, but the highest finish ever in a sledding competition. And now finishing things off in football, where the week-long training session in Jeju finished off on Sunday for the Korean national football team, but not before an inter-squad friendly led by the two assistant coaches. Now, led by Coach Shin Tae-yong and Park Gun-ha, the team was split into two teams, as the Blue Dragons, led by Coach Shin, took on the White Tigers, led by Coach Park. And despite the White Tigers taking a 2-0 lead thanks to goals from Sangju's Lee Jung-hyuk and Jeonbuk's Lee Jae-sung, the Blue Dragons rallied back to tie the match at 2-2. As the final training day came to an end with a 2-2 draw. Meanwhile, head coach Uli Stilicke plans to announce his Asian Cup roster soon, with the national team playing a friendly against Saudi Arabia on January 4th. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Good morning. Well, it snowed yesterday in the mid-afternoon here in the capital and the surrounding area, which made the road wet and quite slippery, so drive with extra caution this morning. I mean, even myself, I saw a couple of car crashes on my way to work earlier. And we have more snow in the forecast because, as we can see, rain clouds are getting closer to the western coastal regions, getting ready to drop snow in any minutes, and it's likely to snow till the lunch hour. Though the accumulation will be less than 1 centimeter here in Seoul, but due to freezing morning low, the roads again could be extremely slippery, so stay safe out there. But cold snap should ease up on this Dongji Day, the 22nd solar term of the 24, with highs reaching above the freezing mark. So let's take a closer look at the readings for today. Now, the daily low here in Seoul is kicking off at -8, and the top temperature will hike up to 1, while Daegu and Gwangju peak at 5, and Busan will top out at 6 this afternoon. And as for the other regions, Jeju Island should rise to 7, while Daejeon and Dokdo will be getting to 3 and 2 respectively. Well, that's all for Korea, and here's international weather for viewers around the world.
Well, that's going to do it from us for now, but Korea Today is coming up at the top of the hour, 7 a.m. Korea time. Have a great day. Goodbye.